Guys, I remember a time when I was so damn confused when it came to onboarding clients. I went through so many gurus, courses, programs, whatever you want to call them. And I remember it kind of being like glossed over. I didn't really know. This was back in the day, by the way. I didn't really know how to onboard a client. I was still confused. And to this day, I still get people messaging me confused about what they actually need from a client when it comes to onboarding and how you should handle the onboarding process. So what I'm going to do in today's video is I'm going to break that down completely for you guys, so you're no longer confused about what you actually need from your onboarding process. So if you see me again, you know me guys, the production value in these videos aren't that great, but the actual value that you get from these videos are, it's outstanding, if you will. I've got a lot of people popping up these days saying the value is just amazing. So guys, if you see me looking over here, it's just because I've got a nice checklist of things that I want to make sure that I go through in order, if you will. So long story short, let's get into this. So the best way I've found first and foremost to actually onboard a client is right after the actual sales call. So just real quick, I want to kind of break down a time frame. So you're on a call, right? You close them for $1,000 per month. You send the invoice on the call. They pay on the call. You then say, thank you, John. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to send you an email directly after this call with the onboarding process to get you onboarded within 30 to 60 to maybe even 90 minutes. Block off 90 minutes, John. Then they say, okay, that's completely fine. I'll look out for that email. Soon as you put the Zoom call down, you end the Zoom call. You should be hosting your calls on Zoom, by the way. You're then going to send over an email, just a simple email saying, hey, John, thank you for partnering with our agency. Here's the onboarding process so that we can actually get everything started. And then you send over your onboarding link via email, basically. Then what you're going to do is you're going to get them to go to your onboarding process. Your onboarding process, if you're wondering, guys, it can be built on ClickFunnels, but it's very expensive to do. But you can also build it on WordPress or any of the other kind of like website kind of like builders, if you will, like Wix, Squarespace, or whatever the other website building things are. So it's a website, if you will. So it's a link to your website. So it's a branded link, if you will. montelgordon.com/onboarding. It would be something like that. Obviously, that's not the correct link. But anyway, long story short, that's the best way I've found to actually have a professional, really nice automated onboarding process. This process is an automated onboarding process. Again, I teach this inside Agency Transmutation on how to build it. You actually get given the slides, the template, everything you need to be able to basically build your onboarding process. It's actually in there, the contract, everything's in there basically. So long story short, that's the best way I've found to onboard a client. And let's talk about the things that you actually need. So there's two types of onboarding you can kind of do if you, well, it depends on your service. You can actually have an onboarding process for any type of service you offer. For example, Snapchat ads, if you offer that, you can have an onboarding process for that. TikTok ads, you can have an onboarding process for that. I'm just gonna stick to the main two, which is, Facebook ads and social media management. So for Facebook ads, here's what you're gonna need. You're basically going to need. You're gonna need partner access to your client's business manager account. That's the quickest and easiest method I've actually found to actually get everything you need. And these are called assets, by the way. Facebook calls them assets. So the assets you're actually going to need are your client's ad account. By the way, you want to make sure that their ad account, your client's ad account, has their actual credit card on it, their actual credit card. Now, what you actually want to do is actually make them connect their actual bank account to it, because it's actually got less kind of like security flags on there. So normally when you connect a card to it, Facebook doesn't like it as much as if you connect like an actual direct bank account, like linked to an actual ad account. So long story short, guys, it doesn't really matter if you got your credit card connected to it. Not your credit card, your client's credit card, by the way. Just make sure that you understand that. Your client's ad account should have their bank details connected to it in some way, shape or form, whether that's their credit card or direct bank link, if you will. So you want to make sure that's set up, because you are going to be spending money out of their credit card from their ad account. Just long story short, I know a lot of people ask me, oh, so when I charge $1,000 for Facebook ads, how much do I charge for ad spend? You don't charge for ad spend. You charge your $1,000, service fee. You keep that $1,000 service fee. That's your fee for running the ads, your expertise. You're getting paid to do a job. Think about it like this. When you buy a car from BMW, do they also give you the fuel? Do they charge you for fuel? They don't. They don't give you the fuel. You actually have to put your own fuel in the car. So think of it in the same way. When you charge a client, they're paying for the car, if you will, the vehicle to get them from A to B, but they need to put the fuel in the engine, if you will. That's a great analogy to actually live by. So long story short, you need access to their ad account, obviously to run the ads with their card on it. Then you're going to need access to their Facebook pixel. You're going to make sure that they have the Facebook pixel connected in the correct way, of course. You can actually go into like Google and just literally type in, Facebook pixel, how to connect it to like Shopify stores if they haven't already. If they haven't already, it's probably going to be a very difficult client to get the results for, to be honest with you, if you're coming from no data, if that is. But let's just assume that you have a pixel, they have a pixel installed. So what you're going to do is you're going to get access to that exact pixel right there, the correct one. You're going to get access to their Instagram page if you're going to be running Instagram ads, and you're going to get access to their Facebook page as well. So those are the four assets you really need access to. And the easiest way to do this, like I said, is to just get partner access to their actual business manager account, and then they can assign admin access. You need admin access to their ad account, their Instagram page, their Facebook page, and their pixel. So you can actually start creating campaigns, running ads, that sort of stuff. So you want to make sure that you've got those things. Now, like I said, their ad account needs to have their credit card connected to it. So just make sure that you guys understand that. Now, those realistically are the things that you need. Now, because of iOS 14, you may need access to their back end of their Shopify store to help you attribute certain sales to your actual ads. You may also need access to their Google as well. So like Google Analytics, you probably will need access to that as well, so that you can actually do some manual tracking and comparing of the data, so that you can actually clearly attribute sales. Because again, the Facebook iOS 14 kind of thing is messing up all the tracking and the attribution and stuff like that. The attribution window is actually shortened dramatically. So you're probably going to need access to their Google Analytics, if you will. And the way how you do that, I believe, is literally just an email that they basically invite you to. So long story short, you're probably going to need access to their Google Analytics, so that you can actually do some manual tracking and comparison, if you will, of the data, so that you can actually show them that you're getting a better ROI than you actually are. Because the ROI actually looks terrible on the back end of Facebook these days, just because of the tracking and stuff like that. Now, what I've also noticed, guys, and what a real killer thing is, of course, is within your onboarding process, you want to have an intake form. Now, an intake form is basically it's actually a Google form that you can actually create for completely free on Google Forms. I use Google Forms. You can use stuff like Typeform or like Survey Sparrow, but I personally like to use Google Forms because it's completely free. Now, this Google Form, you can ask your questions, all sorts of questions, anything you need from your clients, such as their promo codes, their top 3 best sellers, what their current revenue is, what their goal revenue is, what will make the partnership successful. These are all the things you can ask them. You can even ask them for all their business photos in a Google Drive. I do recommend asking that, could you please provide a link to a Google Drive folder with all your branding assets, logos, business photos, anything that can help us market your business better. So you can actually get a lot of creatives from your actual clients. So all their creative video creatives, their image creatives and stuff like that, like picture creatives, you can actually put it into one nice Google Drive folder for you, and you can have instant access to that. You can also ask them what sort of, who do you want in the Slack channel, and you can actually put a question, and you can have them just put in different emails of different people, so that you can actually invite them to Slack, so they can have them in the actual, you can have their client in the Slack channel, you can have the co-founder, maybe their person that kind of manages their marketing or something like that. I don't know why you want them in the Slack channel, but you can have a whole bunch of people in your Slack channel. You can also ask them stuff about what are your top 3 best, main unique selling points for your product, so you can help market it. Who's your target ideal audience? What age range are they? Are they male? Are they female? What do they get up to on a day-to-day basis? What are their daily frustrations? What are their pain problems, and what are their desires? Basically, you can ask them all these sorts of questions in your intake form, and it's going to be very, very detailed. Now, what this is going to allow you to do is going to help you write better copy. It's going to help you market their product so much more, so much better, if you will. It's just going to help your job as a marketing agency or an advertising agency so much easier. It's going to make your entire life so much easier. So I do recommend having an intake form, because it's going to give you everything you basically need to know about the client before you actually even start running ads or anything like that. So that's kind of like what you want for Facebook ads. And also you want to make sure that you have a signed contract as well. So signed contract, you want to have that, completed as well within your onboarding process. So step 3 in my onboarding process is signing the contract and making sure that they pay the invoice if they haven't already. Normally they, 9 times out of 10, 99.9% of the time, they would have definitely paid me already before then, but I just remind them if they haven't, make sure that you pay it now. And then they sign the contract. You do want a signed contract, guys, just because it's going to help make your life a lot easier. It's going to show them what you're going to do, what you're not going to do, that sort of stuff. And the reason why you want an onboarding process like this as well, that's automated, it has videos. By the way, the onboarding process is like a 7-step process. Each step is like a video. Some of the videos are literally 30 seconds long, but it's got stuff to do underneath for the client to do. It's completely automated. They just literally you just literally send over your onboarding process and wait for them to complete it, and then you just literally get to work. Literally, it's completely onboard, or it's completely automated. You actually just get them to do it. It's amazing. It's an amazing process. So you get to sign the contract. So yeah, it's a series of 7 miniature videos. And the reason why you want your onboarding process, as I was saying, is because it's a great way to set the expectations between you and your client. I've seen that a lot of people, when they don't have an onboarding process, they mess this bit up where it's kind of like you're setting the wrong expectations with your client. So this is where you get headache clients. A lot of people get headache clients because they haven't set the right expectations from the get-go, and this helps you do that in a very automated and smooth way, if you will, because it can be a little bit awkward trying to tell people how you communicate, when they can communicate with you, what you're going to do for them, what you're not going to do for them. But if you tell them right at the bat from the get-go, before you even start working within your onboarding process like this, it just works out fine every single time. People don't like change. They do like rules though. They like protocols. They like understanding what, how you work, what they can expect from you from the very beginning. I've noticed that when you try to tell clients something different after you've already started working with them, because you're trying to change something now. Let's say you've been communicating via email all throughout, let's say you've been working with a client for 2 months and you've been communicating with them via email for about 2 months, and then you suddenly switch to using Slack. They probably won't like that. The reason being is because people are adverse to change. They don't like change. People are very stagnant, if you will. They don't like changing stuff, unless they're obviously very familiar with Slack. But most of the time, they'll be like, they just want to stick to email. And what's going to happen is when you try to communicate with them on Slack, they're probably going to still hit you up on email. So let's talk about social media management now. So social media management, you still want access to their business manager account if you're going to be running little light campaigns here and there. So with social media management, I don't technically run Facebook ads in the way you guys think I do, as in like conversion ads. There's a huge difference between a conversion ad and doing a light campaign. I'm talking about boosting posts and getting engagement. I call them engagement ads. So engagement ads and conversion ads are two completely different things. So guys, just as I was saying before, my actual doorbell started ringing with a delivery. For social media management clients, you do want access to your client's business manager through partner access. So you do want partner access to their business manager account. Now the reason for that is because over here at my agency, we do like to run, small engagement ads. And again, these ads are completely different from conversion ads. Conversion ads are, you're actually genuinely trying to, make money, generate a sale at the end of the day. Direct response marketing is what I would call that. But this is different. This is just basically getting them engagement ads, that sort of stuff. So a lot of people ask me, like my students, for example, ask me, when I'm doing like one-to-one coaching with them, they do ask me, why do you still ask for a client's ad account, their Facebook page, their Instagram page, and their pixel if you're not running Facebook ads for them? And I say, we are running Facebook ads for them. It's just that it's a different type of Facebook ads. It's an engagement ad. It's not a conversion ad. So we do need access to their business manager just because it's so much more easier to run ads that way. So if you don't have a business manager account, by the way, guys, go to business.facebook.com and actually go and create one really quickly and get that set up. Now, I personally, for social media management clients, I do not take personal access, or should I say direct access, to their Facebook page, to their Instagram page, to their LinkedIn page, or whatever pages I'm managing. What I do is I get them to create a buffer account. So I get my actual client to create a buffer account. Normally it's free, but if they have to pay $15 for that, I don't pay the $15 per month for buffer.com. I get them to pay the $15. And again, if they ask me why they're paying additional money for this, I explain to them, like when you go to Apple and you buy a computer or an iPhone, do they give you credit? Do they give you $15 worth of credit each month for your actual iPhone? The answer is no, unless you've got some sort of contract deal with them, with some sort of service provider. They don't unfortunately give you the actual data. If you go and buy a Jaguar car from Jaguar, do they give you fuel to drive the car around for the rest of your months or however long you keep the car? The answer is no, unfortunately. So it's the same thing here. You're paying for our services. We're not actually paying for the software. So whenever we quote you, we don't quote you any service fee or any ad spend, basically, is what I like to say to clients. So remember that. So what I do is I get them to create buffer.com. I get them to give me their username and their password. And I obviously keep that and give that to my social media manager, or I log in myself. Technically, it's my social media manager that logs in. But normally I do a little checks as well here and there whenever I need to. So I can actually log in myself and stuff like that. So what I do is I get them to create buffer.com, and then I get them to connect their Instagram account, their Facebook account, or whatever other accounts that we're actually using or managing, should I say, and then we get to work like that. Now, I also have an intake form when it comes to social media management as well. So whenever we onboard a client, I do have an intake form that asks them all about their branding guidelines. I also ask them for a Google Drive link so that I can actually get all their branding assets, logos, photos, anything to do with their business is going to help us market it. I also talk about who their target demographic is, what language they use, what vernacular they use, what lingo lingo they use. I also ask them who their competitors are, what sort of keywords we should use, so I can actually help come up with hashtags and copywriting and stuff like that. I also ask them what sort of Instagram accounts and Facebook accounts, or like even competitors that you've seen that you want us to take inspiration from, that you really like. And I also ask them stuff like, who is not your ideal target? So we know who exactly is their ideal target market and who's not, basically. I also ask them for branding guidelines, colors, that sort of stuff. I also ask them to kind of like, what your goals are for the actual 90-day program, because whenever we close clients, by the way, and I teach you this inside of Agent Instrumentation, whenever we close a client, we close it for a 3-month minimum. So we only work on 3-month minimums. So that means basically, if I close a client right now for $1,000 per month, that basically means they have to stay on for at least 3 months. So I actually lock in 3K there. So 1K first month, the 2K comes in on the second month, and the 3K comes in on the third month, obviously. 1K each month, basically, for 3 months minimum, at the absolute minimum. I explain this to clients as well. And again, I still have an intake form for social media management. And again, the intake form is built on Google Forms, so it's completely free. And I also have a signed contract as well. So those are the only things that you really need for social media management. You just need a buffer account with their social media accounts connected to it, and you want access to the same assets as you would with Facebook. So that's their Facebook page, their Instagram page, their ads manager as admin access, and their pixel as well. Sometimes I just like to take a look at the pixel data and whatnot, and that allows us to run like campaigns, engagement campaigns, that sort of stuff, whatever you want to call it. So those are the things that you actually need when it comes to onboarding, guys. Again, if you guys are struggling building out your onboarding process, this is exactly just given to you in a plug and play sheet, in a very step-by-step methodical way to actually build it out. Only takes about a day to build out your onboarding process. It's just a series of 7-minute videos. You can upload it to like Vimeo and stuff like that. I even teach you the paid way of doing the expensive way of doing your onboarding process. I teach you the very cheap way of doing it, like maybe $2.99 a month, and I also teach you the completely free way of creating your onboarding process as well inside of Agent Instrumentation. So if you guys are interested in that, click the link below and it'll take you to Agent Instrumentation. You can actually learn all about the actual program and why it's absolutely killing it, and why students are actually closing clients. Multiple students are closing clients within their second to third day, literally making 5x return on the program within 3 days of doing outreach, which is absolutely just unheard of. Anyway, guys, with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope that you've learned something, and I hope that I put to rest the confusion about your onboarding process, how it goes, and what you need from clients. So I did have this question asked to me not too long ago. But anyway, guys, hope this video has helped. If you guys have any questions for me, don't forget to leave me a comment or just DM me on Instagram at Montel, spelled with 2 L's, .Gordon. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.